And just bear with me just 2 minutes. I'm going to wait for some people to join, and then we'll get started. Oh no. Has there been no sound the entire time? Ah, this is shocking. Bear with me a second. Uh, I think I figured it out. So it's as I'm getting a notification, it's it's blocking out my sound, and it's stopping me from sharing my screen. This is really embarrassing. So I've pretty much just spoken to myself for 30 minutes, and you guys couldn't see the screen at all. Okay, well, it works now. All right, I'm going to start again, guys. I'm so sorry if you've wasted time looking at this face. Um, no screen or sound, but I can hear you. Ooh. Right, what am I doing wrong? Bear with me a second. What I'll try to do, because I think it works a bit better if I share the tab on Chrome. I'll try and load it in Chrome and just see if that makes a difference. I'm so sorry. Oh, that was it, yeah. Right, now if I go to here and share Chrome tab. Thanks, Yasmin. At least now I can see the comments. If only I could have seen that at the very beginning, I wouldn't have put myself through all of that. Select a tab to share. Right. Okay, hopefully you can hear me now. Can someone give me a little bit? Are you? No, I'm not. I'm just doing it straight through YouTube. I was going to try and set one up, um, but then I ran out of time. Really, perfect. I'm glad you can hear me. Now, next step, I'm going to try and share the screen. Um, Obviously, this is where it went wrong last time. Hopefully, now you can see a dashboard with me in the corner. Wait, that corner. Um, Talking. Amazing. Right. First of all, I'm so sorry that everyone had to sit through just me talking to myself, um, and you're not even a product. So yeah, I will start again. Um, so hello, I'm Stuart Army Jones, and I don't know how to use technology. Um, so I'm an assistant head and Senko down in Plymouth. So what I'm just sharing is SENDlink Insight, which is a tool, like a dashboard that I've made. Started earlier this year, but really got into it over the summer holidays. It's gone through quite a lot of its iterations to get to the point where it is now. What I am going to do is just on my phone, I'm going to have WhatsApp open just in case anything goes horribly wrong, and now I can see when people are trying to contact me. So, so the reason I built this dashboard is what I found is as schools we use lots of different services, and I love those services, whether it's CPOMs for safeguarding, EduKey, for Send, class charts, for example. They're all really good. We've got a lot of data in schools on children, but the difficulty is that all of these services are siloed. They don't talk to each other. And I think that's a real problem because then when you're trying to make reports or find information about a child, you're constantly going to various different places. And myself, I've been in a point where we had an inspection from the MAT, the EQR, and I remember sitting there and he asked me a really, really simple question. It was just, "Oh, can you show me how your CPD lines up with the school improvement plan?" And I just froze. You know when the panic hits you, and I was like, yeah. And I was there. I found myself clicking through like a million different things, trying to find this one piece of information to the point where I even ran downstairs to the head teacher. And I was like, where is this? And she's like, oh, I'm not too sure. And so it like kind of got me thinking everything needs to be way more accessible. And they can't be while they're in lots of different services. So the point of SENDlink Insight is to bring those features into one neat package. That also looks quite nice as well. So I'm going to jump straight here. So hopefully you can see the dashboard. This is the main kind of heat map here. We've got a sidebar with all the different options over here. We've got global filters as well. So year 3, I could click that. Don't know why it says install app. I'm on a laptop. I can click that and just see year 3. Again, that's global. So if I go to attendance, behavior, safeguarding, I will just see the year 3 information there, for example. So I'm just going to close that down a little bit. There's also accessibility settings. I'm just fine tuning them at the moment. There will be some janky bits like this. So I'm showing you it's a bit of a work in progress. It's good enough to use now because I'm going to be using it in my school come September, but it's not finished. There will still be work going on. And one of the points of trying to get schools on board now is one, I'm able to offer it for free until Christmas, but also I can benefit from that too, because I'll have other people looking at it, working with it, and then suggesting improvements. So it is a bit of a work in progress. I understand this background, which is slightly moving, might not be to everyone's taste. I think it's lovely, but that's me. If you wanted dark mode, you could have dark mode too, or if you want, this was originally called plain Jane, but something a bit more corporate, you can have just a plain background as well. I'm going to switch it back to the nice one though. So here is kind of the main bread and butter of the app. Okay, so I've got all of my children in there. It's connected via wand. So for a school, there's not much you have to do really. You just agree to it and then it all connects and then magically all of your children appear here. I say magically, but getting that to work over the holidays has been such, but I'm there. So I can see there's 448 pupils. They're split into different categories. So we've got different levels of risk: low, medium, high, and urgent. These are all context aware. So for some schools, you might find that you struggle with attendance and a child with, say, 94% attendance might be absolutely fantastic. For other schools, a child with 94% attendance might be one that you'd want to focus on to bring it up. So this is all context aware depending on your school. So here I can see for nursery, for example, there's 17 pupils that are categorized as low and 3 that are categorized as medium. And if I just open this up, I can see AM and PM here for the different classes. I'm going to keep switching back as well to the chat just to make sure that no one's saying, oi, but that's fine. There we go. So I can see nice and clearly the different children in this class. So we can see the RA as well. Just a heads up, that's going to be the pupil's picture. So if you've got the pupil's picture in Sims or Arbor, whatever you use, your MIS, it works with any, that will be the pupil's picture there. We've got a governor view as well. So if you are sharing things with governors who quite often are in the community, it will be able to blank out all information. I've got actually, not ready to show it at the moment, but a novel way of sharing, of hiding personal identifiable information as well, which I'll be sharing very, very soon. I'm just going to jump to year 4, just because I know in year 4, I've got a slightly greater mix. So yes, I've got some people that are medium risk, some people that are low. We've got some arrows here. And what those arrows show, obviously it's summer holidays, so there's not going to be much change, but what the arrows show is trends in attendance. So at the moment, things are just ticking along fine here, or coasting, you never know. If it's positive, it'll be slightly up. If it's negative, it'll be down. We've also got the different flags for vulnerabilities visible straight away. So I can see there Arjun Chavez got EAL there on his tile. So he has English as an additional language. Molly Robert over here has a flag for SEND, so special educational needs and disabilities. What you would have missed me saying earlier, because I was muted and you couldn't actually see it, there will be pop-ups every now and then here which will complain about AI. It's because I've disabled it all. And there's, when I get onto the class view in a bit, that will really like flash up, but that's something to look forward to. Right, Molly Robert. I've clicked on her, and what I get now is what I like to think of as all of the information I need about Molly Robert. So I've got an overview. I can see her attendance, behavior, well-being. So the way is scored is on the student portal, which I'll be showing you soon. There'll be different kind of well-being questionnaires and a bit like a worry box sort of thing. So it can kind of gauge the child's well-being from there. And so, you know, like if they are a bit too scared to talk to an adult or not ready to talk to an adult, you can put the support in place because they've been able to do it on their app. But we've got different things here. So academic progress, expected standard across the board there, any support and interventions, strengths and achievements, and a wellbeing score log, but there's nothing there yet, which is why that's 0. For attendance, I can see Molly Roberts' attendance here, a little line graph showing, there's for some reason a little dip there. Weekly attendance pattern as well. So I can see she struggles on Wednesdays and Fridays. So I might put a bit more extra support there. And a little bit of a attendance breakdown there too. Again, academic. So I can see the different assessments that she's got, and I can see the lovely progress over time there. You're going to notice as well in the corners, it's like create academic action. If I go back to attendance, it's create attendance action. That all just goes into these weirdly actions. And that's more like kind of notes for yourself or for other people to work on. If the child is on the SEND register, whether they have an IEP or an EHCP, you could see an overview of it here. And all of this is shared with parents as well. So on the parent portal, they've got access to attendance. They've got access to the recent assessments, the behavior, SEND, medical, the files, because I think it's important that we're as transparent as possible with parents and just make things a little bit easier for them. So I can see here, identified special educational needs. They've got speech and language concerns, dyslexia as well. And then there's individual education plan targets. Again, just a little overview to keep track of there. If there's any medical information on their record, it will show there. For Molly, there isn't. Family as well. So if I need to look up the contact details of a parent or carer, I can do it really, really quickly here. Just click on Molly, click on parent, and it's there. Or really, if I just go back, there's 3 dots here. I can just quickly call parent from there. The reason I wanted that so quick is because it's school, and I know this won't be the same for every school. In my current school, it's a bit of a pain to get contact details for parents. I either have to go through a service which calls itself Next Gen, but seems to take a very, very long time to load, or I've got to go into the office and get this massive folder and get the information from there. Here, it's just nice and easy. And what makes it easier is there's a communication center as well. I'm getting ahead of myself. I've missed this little bit down here too. Sorry. So I've also got a communication log here. So any SMS that's sent, any phone call, there will be the log. And if I just go back up to the communication center, there we go. So I can see I've got the primary contact there, Sarah Robert, the father just below, Daniel Robert. Just a heads up, I can't remember whether I said it in this session or whether I said it when I was talking to myself earlier. Obviously, all the data on this is completely fake. So don't worry about that. I remember when I sent some screenshots in, I think it was on Facebook to a group earlier in the summer holidays, I caused a bit of concern that I was sharing loads of personal information, but all of this is fake, I promise. So here I can either send an SMS and I can use a message template, or I could write it myself and then send it, or phone call. I can either send an automated message, so that would be just a voice using something like 11 Labs to share that, and it'll ring the parent picks up and it'll share the message. It can just streamline and make it a little bit faster doing those attendance calls. Or you can have a live conversation, and that live conversation will work through the browser. What I think is good about that, rather than using the phone, is it can also, again, if you opt in, transcribe that so that you've got a record of the conversations that you've been having, and then in the history, you'll always be able to see that. So you can see each time that you've either contacted a parent or tried to contact a parent, whether you've sent them a message, so that you've got that chronology really, and that evidence that you've been doing what you need to do. Actions we've kind of spoken about there, and you can assign those to different staff. Notes, obviously, I did have 3 different parts here. The public notes would be accessible to parents as well. Private notes would be in school only. I did have a third option, which was like confidential notes, but I got a bit worried about people might treat that as I can write anything I want here. However, if there's a subject access request, then we'd need to share those. So it's just public and private, or / in brackets in school. In the pupil modal as well, you can also see any files that you've uploaded for that child. Currently, I've got it set so that you can download it. However, depending on how you set up your staff, some staff, I probably just reserve it for SLT, can download. For everyone else, it's just viewable in browser to try to stop really that leaking of information. And if there are any safeguarding concerns, they'll pop up here as well. I'm just going to quickly jump back to the chat just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Nope, perfect. In that case, if everyone's happy, I will carry on. Next, we've got attendance. So like you'd expect with any dashboard, you can change the attendance settings. So the current term, current year, last 30 days, or set it to whatever you want. Same for the student scope. You can have its statutory age only. All of this is editable by senior leaders as well. Comparison period, whether on previous term, previous year, or custom period. And obviously that will change all of the information just down below. So for attendance, we've got the headline figures just along the top here. We've got the overall attendance. There's a little bit of a problem with the year 2 data at the moment, which is why there's that big drop. In fact, if I just, I'll wait a minute, you'll see. One of the classes attendance data isn't quite popping across, so I need to just work that out. We've also got the different absence reasons. So you can go in here and see, illness is 45%. We've got medical, unauthorized, holiday, and other. One thing I do want to point out is I'm still doing a bit of an accessibility pass. So the bits down here, like illness, medical, unauthorized, they are a bit tricky to read. That will be fixed. They'll have something behind them, a bit like this color, so it's much easier to read. We've got a session absence heat map as well, so we can see when those absences tend to be. Obviously, they do tend to be on Fridays and Mondays, don't they, weirdly? But just looking at this, I can see something's happened here. So on this Friday afternoon in particular, and then all of Monday, we've had particularly bad attendance. So it'd be interesting to unpick why that could be. A timeline of attendance as well, so you can see hopefully progress that you are making with attendance, and also breakdown of attendance according to ethnicity as well. And again, the intention for this is for each of these to be like little modals, or modular is probably the better word for it, so that you can create your own dashboard as well with just the things that you need. So everyone might not need that at some point. So that will be when this part, the autonomous dashboard, is built, if that makes sense. Right, jumping on to behavior. So here we've got the behavior dashboard with recent incidents, the top performers, weekly trend, and if anyone's needing intervention. But again, like before, I can kind of drill down deeper. What will be available is the different behavior counts by type, so the incident categories, the severity, a behavior timeline, behavior by class, and it mapped to the days of the week. I think it's really important as well to always have in your mind just equity and fairness. So you'll be able to see kind of how the different vulnerable groups, obviously not all listed here, are being impacted by, I guess, subconscious bias. So you may find children with SEND as a flag might be getting more negative points, for example. If I go on to interventions in my trust, what we currently are rolling out is waves. Normally it's 3 waves of intervention, but we've gone for 4 just to break it up a bit more. So we can see all there kind of the different strategies for each of the waves, but also how many children are part of that. And for each of these waves as well, what I want is this playbook. So if a child is struggling, it's a real quick, like, kind of get up and go, click on a different intervention playbook, and you'll be able to map it out for that child, and it'll give you like kind of check-ins of when to call, when to do this, when to do that. And again, as with absolutely everything in this, anything that's suggested, for example, by AI, it's always just a suggestion and guidance. There's always a human in the loop. It will never do anything, or like, for example, you won't log in one day, click and be like, oh, okay, now so-and-so has got the restorative justice process set up. It all needs humans to sort this out. And then predictive. So again, behavior trend forecasting, anomaly detection. So if there's any behavioral patterns that are jumping out, and looking at intervention effectiveness and estimated impact. And again, I love a heat map. So again, a heat map for behavior. Again, that's just a little fake one for the webinar using blank data. So then that brings me on to the safeguarding aspect. So this is what I've set up a little toggle for myself here, but this is what you'd see as a class teacher, like a standard that you'd see on any safeguarding platform, any like open concerns, any actions that have been assigned to you in any recent activity. If I want to add a concern, I'm just going to press add new concern here, and I can add either a concern about a child, or if I've got a concern about a member of staff's conduct. I think it's important to be able to log both of them. Again, ignore that. So I'm going to click concern about a child, and I can start typing in the pupil's name, let's say Emma Thompson, and I can fill all of these details, write about the incident description. You know, we've all seen safeguarding platforms or safeguarding paperwork. It's the exact same thing. The only difference is, and it'll be fixed, is the body map, which is slightly horrific. Look at that, which is, you know, fine. You can add marks. Let's say a child came in with a bite mark on their arm. You can put that there and leave a log. Currently, it just doesn't work if it happens on the shoulder, because for some reason this child doesn't have shoulders, but I'll sort that. actions and next steps, and review and submit. Now, where this takes things a little bit further than other safeguarding platforms is it looks at the content that people have put in and will suggest improvements. Um, Something that we've struggled with is just making sure that there is that consistency in how people write their concerns, because we currently are using CPOMs, and just clicking on various different concerns that come through, it can be wildly different. And say if we're saying don't mention anyone else's names, there will still be people doing that. So this looks at that and just make sure, like, hang on, you've not put a location, you've not put this, you've not put that. Make sure you put all that, and then you can submit it. For SRT, again, it's very similar, except you can see the concerns by year group, looking at the ones that are active, the ones that are resolved there, and you can see a chronology. So here I can see there's 3 for some pupils, but also 1 here for a member of staff. And if I want to dive a little bit deeper, I can just click on that and it'll show me some more information. There'll also be a bit of a dashboard. So the notifications don't currently look a little bit strange. But just to make sure that DSLs and DDSLs have the information they need straight away, that's going to be built into the notification system that's up at the top here. The test part is because I also wanted to flag up for SLT. I'm not sure if in your schools you have a similar problem, but say when children abscond from a lesson and you're a class teacher who doesn't have a TA in the classroom, which is becoming more and more common, it's like, how do I notify everyone? We don't have walkie-talkies in every classroom, and the noise would be really disruptive. Currently, what we've got is like a red card to be taken to the office to then find SLT, which again takes a while. And the only way to do that is to choose a child in the class, and really you're making a decision. This next bit of learning, it's fine for you to miss it. Can you just go take this to the office and come back? It's not the most effective use of anyone's time. So later on, when I show you like kind of being able to give points, take away points, there'll be an easy way to click that a child has left the classroom just to notify everyone that needs to know straight away, and it just avoids any delays. We've also got the chronology on here. This is a bit of a short one, again, just sample data at the moment. Analytics like you'd have in any system like this, so an overview, so looking at monthly concerns, trend here, performance metrics as well, so how long it's taken to resolve a situation. Again, trends, so we've got them here, various different bits of data that will help. And again, demographics. And I'm just going to avoid, because like I said, I've disabled the AI bits at the moment. I'm just going to avoid the AI insights and stuff. My intention is, like I said, is for this to be everything in one place. On the roadmap is then working with other agencies as well and getting them on board. A bit like when I worked in Devon, I'm currently in Plymouth, we had, it's a bit like Marmite really, but EHC Hub, which I loved. But I do know some people absolutely hated it. But one of the things that I love about it is how everyone is connected, and it's so easy just to get information from an external agency. Whereas in my current local authority, it's a bit more pained, really. That then brings me on to class view. This is where it's going to not really like it. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to select the year group. I'll go to 4SL because that's where that child that we were discussing before. Okay, now it's going to ping here. So because I've changed my databases and tried to correct all of the American spelling that I've put in various places, it now doesn't like me. So it's just going to have a little whinge for a second, and then it should pop up. Oh, I'd hoped I'd timed that perfectly. There we go. So this is a little bit like Class Dojo. So children have these tiles. You can click on any of these tiles and give them a point for whatever. If you give them a point, let's say teamwork, you can put a little bit of information and confirm. It'll play a little noise. They'll do a little jiggle so you can see who you've given it to. All of this as well is customizable. So one of the things that I found in my setting is we use Class Dojo, and the children love it, and the customization, everything like that. We also arrange for the children to build up a certain amount of points collectively for an end of term or end of half term treat. What I found with that is there'll always be some children who will just sit back and not really care about that because they know they don't need to take part, and they will still get that reward. Um, this kind of incentivizes it a little bit more. So because everything on here is customizable. This will be the pupil's picture, but they are able to, in a shop section, which I'll show you in a bit, using the points that they've earned, it turns it into a bit of an economy. So they can buy, for example, the different backgrounds. If they get different achievements, let's say they get like a head teacher's award, or they've done amazing in English or anything like that, they'll earn little pins as well, and they can have up to 3 on here as well, just to further customize it. And that little jiggle you saw in the little celebration, again, that's built into that like little shop that they've got, so they can customize that too. So it gets all children kind of really engaged in this, because when you look at, someone with this nice looking tile, which is shiny and it bounces around and it's lovely, and then you look at yours and it's beige, you're going to want to improve it. There's also a class hub, which I'm currently in the process of sorting. So it looks a little bit bland at the moment. And what I want this to be is a place where class teachers can get all the information that they need. So they've got a little overview here. They've got quick actions. They can plan, prepare, assess, and teach. So what I've built here is a whiteboard. With this whiteboard, you can upload your PowerPoints, images, PDF. If you do upload a PowerPoint, it will keep it as it is in PowerPoint. So some services that I've used before, it kind of turns it into an image and you can't interact with it. With this, if you upload a PowerPoint, it will still be just like a PowerPoint. Your text box will be text boxes, your squares will be squares, and they'll all be movable and interactive. I really wanted that to be the case because when I first started teaching, we used Promethean, Active Inspire, and I really like that interactivity. My current setting, it's all PowerPoints, and I'm not as much of a fan of that. So this is kind of the best of both worlds. You can upload a PowerPoint and make it interactive. Another great thing about this is, as you're teaching, if you use this, you can give points straight from where you're teaching. Whereas currently, I'm having to jump from place to place, switch screens just to be able to give a point out for a child given a correct answer, for example. I've built on things from, if any of you use Shobi before, or what's that other one? Explain Everything, where children can join lessons. If you press start, it currently says QR code, but I've not set up the QR code yet. It's just a URL. You can set it up so that for the lessons, the children can either follow you, where you're controlling the movement through the lessons, or free roam, where they can go through it how they want. The great thing about this as well is, because it's got the tools like with the pen and things like that, you can just draw straight on it. Oh, that looks a bit... So I've got a little bit of testing to do on this, because when I do it on Safari, this is so nice and smooth, but it's just a little bit too... I'll give myself a job. Great. But anyway, you can draw on there like you would be able to with anything, really. And the children will be able to see it on their screens as well. I think that's really important, because I've got children in my school who are visually impaired, and they use an iPad to view the content. Currently, we upload the PowerPoints to them, and they can make it the size that they need. Whereas this way, they don't miss out on all of the annotations from the teacher as well. And if you want the interactivity as well, you can set it so that pupils can also draw. However, I think that would remain strictly off most of the time. Oh, and another thing, once you finish teaching on this bit, there's quick assessment. So formative assessments quite often get missed. I found, and teachers are waiting until the big data dump. Whereas here, obviously, you wouldn't do it in front of the children. This can come back. You can come back to this at any time, but this will always pop up just to remind you. So say if it's break time, you can just quickly go on with it. And I can select all children and just categorize them into 3 easy categories. Could they do it independently? If not, could they do it with support? If not, then they struggled. And I can select everyone to be independent, and then maybe Noah struggled, so I'm going to pop him there. Maybe Leo needed a little bit of help, but then was able to get on. And again, there I've got my assessment. That's all recorded, and it looks at the PowerPoint that you've uploaded, and if you've been doing your plans as well, or know the curriculum objectives, and that can really help teachers come data drop time, because they'll have all of that formative assessment, and it can build the picture of the pupil and help make kind of suggestions about where they could be, and hopefully get past the little biases that people may have. Right, let's jump back to the beginning. Let me just quickly check the chat in case anyone has put anything in there. No, nice. Right, I will speed up though, because obviously people have only been listening for 37 minutes, but now it's been an hour and 10 for me because I'm a fool. But here I've got assessment overview. So all assessments that you'd expect to be able to see, along with progress tracking, cohort analysis, target tracking, and detailed reports as well. Again, all export options are only going to be there for SLT or designated staff, unless you set it for people. Assessment entry, again, exactly what you'd expect, being able to put working towards expected greater depth at various points for various subjects. I am looking at building this more and do a bit more in depth. So my school currently uses Power Maths. So one of the things that I'm wanting to do is link this to our sequence of Power Maths lessons, just to make that assessment that little bit easier. In my school, for first aid, we have a Teams form, and if there's a first aid incident, staff have to write a comment on Teams as well. And there's been a few times when parents haven't been informed. This helps stop that from happening, because it can automate most of it. So we've got a dashboard so you can see kind of the first aid incidents that have happened, whether there have been any that need to be reported or not. You can see all of the incidents that have happened. Staff can quickly press new incident and they can pop something on here. What I'm setting up as well, because like I said, you can send text messages straight from this app as well, is for SLT to be able to set a setting so that it'll automatically message a parent. So like, say if there is a head bump, they will get that message no matter what, and just avoid policy not being followed, really. You can keep track of staff's first aid qualifications and get prompted when they might need to be renewed. Tracking of equipment, and of course a duty roster. Flying through these last few things, school improvement as well. So trust priorities, or LA priorities if you're not in a trust. School priorities too, and if you click on one of those, you can see the 100-day implementation plan. This is an area where you can put your monitoring, and it's just basically one place for the school improvement. So that story that I told earlier about not being able to find the key information that I needed for my EQR, I would be able to find it here. I've also got a little panic button here. It shows up red for Ofsted. Again, currently it uses demo data, but the intention for this is that when you get onto the key questions, obviously you wouldn't have it open, or you could have it open really during the phone call. But the point is, these are some of the key questions that are asked when Ofsted do their 90-minute phone call. It's got suggested answers here, but this would update the more you use the app. So looking at your monitoring, looking at your improvement plan and the trust priorities. So yeah, it's just a bit of support there. Provision mapping does what it says on the tin, really. So this is a bit that I'm kind of leaving till last, because this is what I feel most comfortable with as a Senko. So you get an overview of the pupils and their needs. So the top primary areas of need here, we can see 24 for cognition and learning, 18 for communication and interaction, 14 for SEMH, and 5 for sensory or physical. Although you can tell that's demo data, because realistically, what you would see is a massive increase there in the SEMH, and probably for me anyway, communication and interaction kind of on par with that. So again, seen by cohorts by year group. I'm not going to click that because it's going to break. But again, IEP management, being able to view all of your IEPs um, and just checking when they've been reviewed, the provision that's on there. Is this going to work? I've also got, no, of course it's not. Anyone who's followed like kind of the things that I've put either in WhatsApp or on Facebook, this has got every part of that in it. So when I go on create new IEP, which obviously for the tech demo isn't working, it will bring up a list of the children in the class for that teacher. And then there's the needs indicator. So it's like a tick box of the different needs that's built on the Devon needs indicator there. And that uses AI to suggest targets, to suggest provision as well. I found that works a little bit better than having a target bank, just because it's more bespoke to the child. An area for pupil profiles as well, to share that with anyone that needs to see it. You can print it as well, make it accessible to supply teachers too. Provision mapping, outcome tracking, reporting. There's analytics, budget, transition, and things like that. Communication center is a bit like, although it doesn't look great at the moment, it's a bit like Class Dojo and Stories. Again, from here, you can send SMS messages, you can send emails, or you can do story posts, which again will go to all parents. And I'll show you what that'll look like in just a moment. You can set up your groups. You can have different templates. You can see the history of communication and different analytics and how people are engaging with various things too. I'm currently as well trying to build the trust portal. It looks really janky. I'm working with My Trust on this. So we're doing a bit of a staged rollout for My Trust. And as we're doing that, we're going to be building this up. I'm not even going to click it because it just looks horrific. But that gives the trust an overview of pretty much everything that you've seen there, just per school or entire trust as well. There's a couple of other things. Stop talking and see if anyone's got a question. There's parent access. And what I'm currently making is the iOS app. I've never made anything for iOS before, so that's a bit of a pain. But it's going to be a bit like this, where they can see all the information that they need to see. I think transparency for parents is a really good thing. They can see attendance, they can see the behavior points, any upcoming events, payments, again, can be done through the app if you'd like. They can report an absence, request a holiday, request information, or message the teacher directly from here. I've made it clear, for at least in my school, that this is triaged. Nothing goes straight to the class teacher. It'll go to admin, and then it'll be kind of filtered through there. And a little bit of a ticker at the top for the school news. For the communication side, they've got their own private messages that might have come through to them here, that they would be able to reply here. All the updates, which is a bit like the Class Dojo Stories. So the updates for everyone in the school about various things that are going on. They can see progress for their child or children. There will be more than one there if they've got obviously more than one child. They can see the if they've got an EHCP or an IEP, it will all be present on here. Payments as well. So admin staff can set these up, and it's just one place where parents can pay. If they've got their card or bank details on there, they can just press pay now, select their method, and they will be able to do it either direct debit, which would be the cheapest way to do it, especially if it's a large fee like that, or they could pay using their bank card. So they just click that and then pay. For them, it will process, press done, and then they'll be able to see that it's been paid, and then they'll have a receipt that they can save. There'll be a school calendar and any requests that they've made, ones that are open, and then the history as well. Again, it just helps it helps anyone, doesn't it? Knowing when you've made a request that A, it's been seen, and two, or B, that it's being actioned. So that's the parent side of it currently. There's also a student side of it. And that looks a bit weird. So this is kind of what pupils will see as well. So they'll see the different badges they've got, books that they've read, the star points that they've got through the behavior. They'll have their tasks So, for example, they've got read an adventure, read chapter 3 of the Magic Garden and answer 3 questions, and they can upload work, take a picture, and when they do that, then they can earn some extra points, which they can then spend in the shop. Um, a bit of a reading log for them as well instead of a reading diary. School news, because obviously it's still important for the children to see the different news stories. There's the information about their class, so information about the teacher, teaching assistant, where it is, exciting things that are coming up, the class helpers, and also what I quite like, the birthday celebrations, and then if there's a class photo and things like that. The shop. So the intention for this is children have their points. This child has got 156 points. And what they can do is they can spend those on different things. Maybe they want to be a curious cat instead of this guy. So they can buy, and it's going to tell them after purchase, you can have 141 points. And it's like, yeah, that's worth it to be a cat. And it'll update their tile. There's going to be different profile themes as well. So if I press preview, I can see these on here. Again, these are going to be slightly different. So what I'm doing is I'm using like Sora at the moment to make nice background images. So it might be like a nice kind of, and I'm having them themed, whether it's nature and they've got like a nice forest in the background, or it might be coastal, just to give them a few different themes. Badge frames as well. Celebrations will need to be toned down a bit because they might have the victory fireworks. But obviously, if this child's getting a lot of points and then it always pops up like this, you might want to change it slightly. So I'm going to tone that down just a little bit, and custom titles and things like that that they might have received. So being able to customize their avatar, obviously that's a bit rubbish there. They can unlock various things. Again, I need to just work on the accessibility of this. The first half that I've shown you is obviously a lot smoother. I just need to just work on lightening this here. They can choose the different things to go in their avatar, for example, different hairstyles, outfits, a bit like doing their monster. Right, I think I am going to stop talking. And if anyone does have any questions, or if anyone's still there, because I have rattled on for a while now, I'm more than happy to try and answer them. Ooh, there are some. Thank you, Yasmin. I have several questions to prompt your thinking about development. I've helped shape many products you mentioned, and others, including new ones, so not for this, but may support your further work. Okay, fantastic. Do you want to share any here, or do you want to message me separately? In case anyone's typing any questions or anything like that. Okay. Well, my email address is Stuart, Stuart, at sendlink.co.uk. So if anyone does have a question that they'd like answered, then just let me know. Okay, thanks for hopping along.